fabulous. Don't you wanna try it?
I will try my best, fabulous fam. I will try my best not to always sing the jingle at the beginning, although it is very, very tempting. And you'll notice I did it on a couple episodes so far. But what is up? I'm Justine, and welcome back to App Fabulous, the podcast where we test the apps that promise to make you look like a creative genius, but with zero effort. And I shouldn't say that. It's really not zero effort. This is in the whole reason I even started this podcast is because in the past 2 years alone of being more in the EdTech and nonprofit tech space, I have been on this journey of discovery myself. And some of you may go, okay, I saw somebody post about a tech stack, or what does this even mean? Because of the rate of information, how fast it's moving, how much we can all access information these days, there is so many cool, creative, innovative things that come out. And they are not all created equally. They don't all serve the same purpose. And the more that we keep sharing our creativity across sectors, across platforms, across all types of factors, right, that have to do with our identities, all of these pieces in our world, it's just important. And I want to keep reiterating this. I've said it in most of our episodes, but even in this segment where I give you guys in a few minutes my hot nerd verdict of, is it fabulous? Is it not? Remember, opinions, take them or leave them. Secondly, I want to provide a comprehensive look at some of the apps that I am trying, some of the apps that I'll be designing over time, some I've already designed, and also a lot of these bigger ones that if you just like to create like I do, you might go, I just want my feed to look better. Like I post pictures of mountains or outdoors when I'm jogging or whatever your thing is. Maybe you post pictures of food. I don't know. Or maybe you're not into any of these aesthetic ones and you're like, Justine, why don't you do other app reviews? Well, we will. Okay, they all have a different purpose, but let's get into today's. It's Prequel, and we are going to be diving into Prequel today, and it's an app that kind of, I think, turns your iPhone videos into indie film magic sometimes, if you want it to be that way. I specifically name iPhone because there are a variety of video settings. It is something that phone is known for. I actually made the shift from Android of over 20 years to iPhone just a few years back. And when I say I have captured even more film and photo in the past 5 years than ever, I have. This also, just so you all know, this also kicked off with me purchasing my first camera, my first serious Nikon camera. And I just love the art of photography. So if you're like, hey, that's not me, I want an editing tool, come back for another one or a different type of purpose of tool, that's okay. Skip this episode for now, but come back and listen to us and see if there's other ones, in a few weeks that maybe speak to you, because I do love to get technical. So let's get technical. And let's also be real. Can any app that is purely aesthetic, which I consider Prequel to be purely aesthetic, can it really make your content better? Or are we just involved in some type of aesthetic theater? So basically, what does it do? We're going to start where we usually start, and then we're going to talk about the good, what to watch out for, and then, of course, my hot nerd verdict. And you know my theory on hot nerds. Hotness is all about how you feel about yourself and what you see when you look in the mirror, but also embracing exactly who you are and what you're here to do. Okay, let me actually get into it. I've been using Prequel, and I have to tell on myself. I tell on myself in all these episodes because I am your personal little, I was gonna say test dummy, but I don't really like to call myself that. Maybe a gerbil or a hamster, your test hamster. But okay, anyways, back on track. What is this really best for? If you want to elevate some visual branding and you want to have some consistent moody aesthetics, this might be for you, right? There's also the Esti app. Esti is even more limited. The very first episode of App Fabulous, I reviewed Esti. I do not pay for that app, but it is way more limited in what its capacity is and even the library of filters, effects, etc. So while I do no longer pay for Esti, Prequel is one that I have paid for pretty consistently. It is one of those apps you can either do an annual, etc. I'll get into the pricing, but that was one of the reasons that I kept it. And one thing to know, like if you're into creating a vibe or having a content theme for maybe you're launching a course or a personal brand storytelling for writers, for educators, doctors, physicians, etc. A lot of professions anymore, you may have a newsletter or you have somebody doing a newsletter for you. This one quick way, and you all know there's always a companion blog article to go with every one of these episodes. So if you don't want to listen to me or you don't want to go back and listen, you can always get into the blog article that I've linked and go to the quick use workflows as well as advanced workflows. So I try to give a couple different levels of where you feel comfortable popping in, but also if you happen to catch and listen to this episode, where you can click to get more in-depth step by step. So those are usually 4 to 5 steps. And for example, one of those suggested steps in an advanced workflow is to create your own newsletter header image for Substack, your email header, a newsletter on any platform. Prequel is actually a really great way to do that and have something that really stands out distinctly as you, but you can also apply a very consistent or moody filter that you create in Prequel. So I just want to put that out there because there is a lot of versatility and you don't have to be like, well, Justine, I don't have a bunch of social media accounts like you. I'm not trying to run different brands like you. That's okay. That's okay. I was once a teacher in a classroom making a Google website, and also newsletters on that Google website. So I have been doing stuff a long time with design myself, but not in the space of being an influencer or a content creator. I don't necessarily like either of those terms for myself, but to each their own and how you decide to call yourself. So quick transformations of raw footage into scroll stopping posts. That is one thing I like. If I've taken a lot of footage of like maybe I've gone on a nature walk and I've captured some really cool animals and flowers, I love to dump those clips into Prequel and use that raw footage to make some quick transformations and make it look cool and just have a visual story tell. So now let's get into, I just shared with you some of the things that it's best for, really just your visual branding to have consistent aesthetics. So that would be very similar to Esti, but you have more options, more versatility, more layers in Prequel. Esti to me is a much simpler app, even in its design and the user interface itself. So watch out. Here are my watch outs for Prequel. Filters are fun, but they are not a substitute for substance. And if your content strategy is thin already, or you don't have a direction that you're going with even how you like to post pictures or anything, and that's okay. Maybe that doesn't matter to you. That's okay. But there's no amount of grain and glow, so to speak, or filtering that will really save it. So I would just say use Prequel to enhance your content and not replace your message. And I say this once again as a person who has made that mistake. And even in auditing my own accounts consistently, I still make this mistake sometimes because I'm going, oh, wow, this looks really pretty. Then once I put it on the feed or I go back and look at it, there's been plenty of times that I just go, okay, I'm not going to display that on my main profile feed for Instagram. I will also say that exporting favors from Prequel, it favors Meta. So Facebook and Instagram specifically, it does favor as far as the exporting and the video dimensions, if that makes sense. So my hot nerd verdict, and you all remember, you're all a hot nerd if you decide to claim it, and so be it. My verdict would be that Prequel gives you style and strategy if you use it right. And it's perfect for if you are an educator or you're a person who owns owns a business, or maybe you're doing freelance work for somebody with that, right? It's perfect if you want to add a cinematic touch to testimonials, course promos, or brand content. So think of, instead of, like, I've done carousel posts before with testimonials from some clients, and they just aren't, they might do okay. It also depends on your following. If you're also doing ad spend, like, this depends on so many things. But what I will say is that it is a great idea to put those things into a video, or a reel rather, or YouTube short form, but to have that film vibe. Because when I've done it more static, even with reels and stuff, you need to have a story you're telling. And again, I know this to be true, and I can point out and show posts where, if my content strategy was thin and it was just like, oh, I want to put these together so I can post something. No, that's not really a clear message. Like, it might look pretty, but that's not necessarily a consistent, aligned, strategic approach to content and storytelling and messaging. Now, again, the real talk of all of this, and what makes it different, is that it's a video first approach. A lot of these, like Visco and that's very photo heavy. That's just one example, but there's also, the filters are grouped by vibe. So you can look through the vintage filters, dreamy, cinematic, so you don't just have 500 random options. So when I talk about user interface and the ease of use, that's what I'm talking about. Then the AI tools, you can do object eraser, you can auto enhance features, you can speed up editing without the manual masking, and then you can also do background removal. So there's also a lot of versatility as far as its editing capacity, whereas apps like Esti, they don't have those features. They're a lot simpler. So once again, I'm just trying to give you examples as to how these different apps can differ, and what I mean when I say, like, simpler. So the video tools, some of the video tools, they also include speed ramps and glitch effects. So basically, you can upload a raw photo or video, find the vibe you want, tweak it if you're fancy, and then export and post it. So think of it as Lightroom, but for people who don't want to actually learn Lightroom, which is a very photography favored app that has been around, part of the Adobe suite, for many, many years. And if you're not having a background in those things, like I don't have a background in working with Lightroom or photo colorization or editing, then no, things like Prequel are great for us because we like those things, but I haven't had spare time to just pick up learning Lightroom. Okay, so we've been through what makes it different. We've talked through what it's best for, what to watch out for. My hot nerd verdict, again, was if we use it right. So many of my verdicts are going to be dependent upon your use case and also your own preferences, like I've talked about throughout this episode. So it's really important when you hear these things to really consider, well, what type of content do I put out? Or what type of apps do I use? Because like I said, some of these things, they're going to be getting into more technical things. Sometimes I might throw in an app that has nothing to do with content creation. It has to do with making your life easier. The pricing scoop. So let's close out with that, because this kind of has it all bring together for you to make your own verdict. They do have a freemium model. The basic filters are free, but the good stuff, now you're going to hear why I still pay for Prequel, okay? They have premium filters. They have high definition HD exports and no watermark from their brand. And that requires you to have Prequel Pro, which is either $5 a month or about $30 a year. So if you are using it for brand content like I do, the Pro tier has been well worth it, and you avoid, as they call it, watermark shame. There's no shame in that if that's where you're starting and you just want to use the tools, not lose the tools, use the tools. But over time, you can also, like, the reason why I download and test a lot of these apps and do the free trial and then cancel, or I start out everything with free, is because I want to see the capacity. And that's why then I can come tell you, hey, yeah, I tried it for 6 months. Nope, didn't work. So even though that might not be always the case, I may not always try something for 6 months, I will tell you the truth of like, did I keep it? Did I keep going with it? Why or why not? Hula is a great example of that. I've deleted it off my phone even since that episode came out because I've been streamlining things. So it is really up to you. Again, what is it worth to you? And being able to have that consistent content look, the consistent go-to tools where you don't have to keep teaching yourself new stuff, that can feel really fun, but essentially it can become a distraction from actually your message and keeping the main thing. So here we are. Choose Prequel. If you want effortless aesthetic polish without learning complex editing software, if you are trying to build, like I am, some visually cohesive brands and need consistent filters. And now the adaptation for that would be if you are not an entrepreneur or a writer like myself, then maybe you're helping to build a visually cohesive newsletter or website for your small team you lead or your classroom newsletter, right? Whatever it is, that would also apply to this. And you create short form content. So if you just like creating on IG, TikTok, or YouTube Shorts, I would definitely encourage you to check out Prequel again, just because I even love the way some of the templates batch your clips automatically. And that just takes a lot of the guesswork out of the editing process as far as storytelling. So as always, I have linked for you below access to join Teach Techies, which is my free community online. We are still building and growing together. I don't know if I even have anybody in there yet, but please go hop in. If you're one of the first, know that it will be growing, evolving, and responsive to the ongoing participants from different clients and workshops that I work with. And there will be plenty more opportunities to engage there. So that's all that I've got for this episode of App Fabulous. So I have to ask you, don't you want to try it? Don't you want to try it? Okay, take care. And until our next fabulous app review next week, I will be right here being your guide on the side. Make sure you do check out all the resources. And until next time, have fun trying it all out.
App fabulous, don't you wanna try it?